Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
Wow, that's not bigger. Who found out? How do you know? Hearing the ruins, Meng Ze immediately came to the spirit and asked two questions in a row. Meng Ze's enhanced genetic regent and a chip he almost forgot about came from this kind of place. In Meng Ze's heart, the ruins represent treasures and special items. What's big? Big guy. People have been sent away, and now our district is in big trouble. What's the situation? Hearing Dream Bend Overtake say this, Meng Ze looked confused. Big guy. Our district 77844312350C4250. I coordinates. There is a large ruin. The bastard who first discovered the ruins is called Roskil Sarah. Originally, he wanted to explore secretly, but he didn't expect that this was actually a third-level ruin. After this bastard activated the ruins, he kicked the iron plate, and his backhand was destroyed by the Zerg in the ruins. It doesn't matter if he dies, but our district is in big trouble. With the story of overtaking on Dream Bend, Meng Ze learned that last night in this new district, where he was located, there was a big melon. The player, named Roskil Sarah, did not do any reconnaissance after discovering the ruins, and hurriedly sent troops over, thinking that he had hit the luck. Unexpectedly, after the relics were activated, a large number of high-level troops appeared. Not only Roskil Sarah was destroyed, but players within a radius of thousands of kilometers around the area were also affected. From yesterday to now, the entire theater of operations is noisy information. In the new area of 320, those who scolded, pulled people's heads, asked for help, were extremely hot, and now Area 320 is famous. By this morning, it was no longer a question of exploring the ruins. The spilled relics of the Zerg actually began to take root on the map, and Zerg buildings appeared in many mining areas. If things continue to deteriorate, I am afraid that the entire 320 new district will have to be buried. Big guy, what should we do now? Dream Bend Overtaking looked at Meng Ze with some anxiety. In his heart, Meng Ze is a person with a big background. This kind of natural disaster-like accident, only players like Meng Ze have the opportunity to drag on. Like himself, he was bulldozed by the relic Zerg in minutes. Meng Ze did not immediately answer his younger brother's question. First, looking up the distance from the ruins to the location of his base on the map, there are almost 5,000 kilometers. In other words, the relic Zerg will not affect him for the time being. But no matter what, if you let the relic Zerg develop unscrupulously, Meng Ze may face the overwhelming Zerg legion in the future. Meng Ze mobilized the satellite station, using the energy stored by the satellite station, and started a long-range detection. The feedback shocked Meng Ze. In addition to the puppy class that Meng Ze has fought with, there are many creatures that Meng Ze has never seen before. However, the command center immediately provided information. Zerg Berserk Jumping Bug, Level 3, 500 health points, attack power 50, defense power 5, extremely fast, double the damage to buildings. Zerg Multi-Armor Thorn Snake, Level 3, health force 1000 points, attack power 100, defense power 20, long range class, attack by spraying acid, restrain armored class, face armored class, attack effect increased by 20%. Zerg Multi-Legged Lurker, Level 3, life force 1500 points, attack power 100, defense power 20, buried stealth class, straight line coverage attack, attack with armor breaking effect. In addition to these class information, the command center also provides information about the Zerg's building. Buildings scanned by Meng Ze's remote detection include the Zerg Level 3 Mother Hive, Beehive, Evolution Blood Pool, Multi-Armor Snake Tower, and Advanced Evolution Room. The range of a long-range detection is not large, and if it is not detected, I don't know how many more, but just in the detected area, there are a huge number of Zerg troops gathering. Meng Ze compared the combat effectiveness of his own gunners. Hopeless Biochemical Lancer, Level 1, 100 health force, 10 attack power, 1 defense force, speed 20, 10 hours of combat life, long-range class, damage by gun attack turn basic class. Such combat effectiveness, if nothing else, is just facing the lowest level jumping insects, and dozens of them may not be able to fight one of them. Seeing that Meng Ze has not replied, the Dream Corner Overtaking is a little anxious. Big guy, what should I do? I just received information that the farthest of the relic Zerg has spread to 1500 kilometers. Hearing the words of Overtaking on the Dream Corner, Meng Ze came to his senses. What else can be done? Now the entire new district is a grasshopper in a line, and if it is not topped, it must be topped. Whose contact details do you have there? Closest to the ruins, I heard my boss ask. Dream Bend Overtaking immediately provided the contact details of the two people. One is called who I will die with, and the other is called a kindergarten master. You let them give me a picture. Meng Ze instructs Dream to overtake on a corner. I don't know if it's because Dream Bend overtaking has a good relationship with these two players, or because these two players are already in danger. Less than 2 minutes after Meng Ze's order, 2 areas lit up on Meng Ze's minimap. Meng Ze cut through the map and saw that both locations began to engage the Zerg in an exchange of fire. However, because it is more than 1,000 kilometers away from the ruins, there are not many Zerg troops attacking these two players now. I died with whom I depended on densely packed supply stations to block the intersection, and a large number of tanks were erected on high ground, bombarded by long-range heavy artillery in fortress mode, barely surviving. But the situation of kindergarten masters is very critical. The main force of the kindergarten master is biochemical gunners, with only a small number of tanks. Even if the intersection is blocked with buildings, the attack power is really not enough, and the entire intersection is in the middle of repeated battles. In just a few minutes of Meng Ze's observation, the Zerg class broke through the intersection twice, still relying on the fortress to barely kill it, but many buildings in the entire base were damaged and on fire, and the engineers were busy repairing. Save the kindergarten master first. Meng Ze immediately made up his mind. Meng Ze then connected to the kindergarten master's communication. Hello, big guy. Are you the big brother who dreams of overtaking on a corner? In the communication, the kindergarten master had red eyes and anxious eyes, barely maintaining his calm and saying hello to Meng Ze. I'm Meng Ze. How is it over there? How many resources are there? Meng Ze asked without nonsense. Big guy, help. Although I am now fully engaged, my resources are about to be emptied. Hearing Meng Ze's question, the calm disguised by the kindergarten master suddenly shattered. Since 10 hours ago in the interstellar world, a small number of Zerg troops have successively arrived at the base of the kindergarten masters. At first, the pressure was not great, but the Zerg forces could not finish the battle. As time passes, the number of troops is increasing, and seeing that the base they have worked hard to build in recent months is about to be attacked by the Zerg, the pressure of kindergarten masters can be imagined. Don't worry, I will come to support you. You first buy some resources to support. Your location is far from me, and I expect to arrive in 14 hours at the earliest. Big guy, I'm afraid I won't last that long, the kindergarten master said with a look of embarrassment. If you can't hold on, then you will die, Meng Ze said in an icy tone. Meng Ze promised to save him, and would definitely do his best, but if he couldn't hold on himself, no one else was to blame. Meng Ze now has a total of 25 production buildings, including 10 biochemical arsenals, Mystic, 10 forges, Mystic, and 5 airports, Mystic. There are 45,000 units of biochemical and chemical gunners, 18,000 units of spitters, 6,000 units of medical soldiers, 1,000 ghost fighters, and 1,000 transport aircraft. Explosive troops with full force, including Meng Ze's commander bonus, increased the efficiency of all building production, research and development, collection, and construction by 50% and reduced consumption by 5%. Technology bonus. Level 3 biochemical synthesis increases the production of biochemical soldiers by 30%. In this way, Meng Ze can produce 18,000 biochemical arms per hour and consume 1.71 million crystal ores, 1,500 tanks, or robots of heavy arms, occupying a population of 2,000, consuming 270,000 crystal ores. There are 750 ghost fighters, or transport aircraft of the air class, occupying 1,000 units of the supply station, consuming 142,500 crystal ore. But Meng Ze's current mineral collection capacity is probably more than 260,000 per hour in the interstellar world, 240 hours a day in the interstellar world, and if it explodes with all its strength, it is not enough to consume a fraction. However, Meng Ze did not intend to support the other party with all his might, which would be of no use except to drag himself to death. Judging by the engagement, the biochemical lancers of the first level are of little use. In addition to the berserk jumping worm, mad dog, the other two types of multi-armored snakes and multi-legged lurkers cannot even break the defense. You can only rely on the rules of the world, forcibly break, and deal 1 damage, -1 life force. Meng Ze was only going to produce tanks. Meng Ze had never produced tanks before, but after reading the information about the tanks, I realized why I died with whom I had stronger defenses than kindergarten masters. Category: Tanks. Level 1. Population 2 units. Life force 200. Attack power 20 plus 4. Tech bonus Normal mode 100 plus 20. Tech bonus Fortress mode. Defense 2. Speed 30. Combat endurance 10 hours. Manufacturing demand 200 units of crystal ore. Note: Tank normal mode reduces individual damage by 50%. Fortress mode cannot move. There's fragmentation sputter damage, but there is a certain distance to attack the blind zone. The super attack ability of the tank fortress mode is the best way for novice players to deal with level 3 Zergs, but the number must be large enough to form a group effect. Meng Ze's existing transport planes, one round trip of 27 or 8 hours, can only transport 2,000 tanks. This capacity is quite low compared to Meng Ze's production capacity of 1,500 aircraft per hour. Meng Ze decided to add another 4,000 transport aircraft, which is about a third of the production capacity. In this way, with the consumption of about 70,000 crystal per hour, Meng Ze can still surplus most of it. He wants to strive to upgrade the second-level command center as soon as possible, and at least the second-level troops are needed in order to have a certain resistance to the relic Zerg. Meng Ze intentionally controlled the speed of building the transport plane, which was scheduled for 8 hours, but with the first batch of support, Meng Ze didn't think about waiting for the new transport aircraft to be built. In that case, the kindergarten master is estimated to really be cold. Meng Ze first drew 7,000 biochemical gunners, 2,000 Spitfires and 1,000 medics from the existing army, escorted by the Ghost Fighter. The transport plane flew mightily into the distance. The fleet of 2,000 aircraft is quite spectacular, and it is not an exaggeration to describe it as covering the sky. Heading to the supported course, I also ran into some player bases. When the fleet passes over these bases, there is always a scene of panic. Fortunately, these players were relatively restrained, and no one took the initiative to fire after Meng Ze issued a notice to support the players in front and fight against the relic Zergs. As the support fleet departed, Meng Ze sent a message to the kindergarten masters. Brother Master, this batch only has biochemical soldiers, but I am already stepping up the production of tanks, and in 2 hours, another batch will leave. Thank you, Guy. When the kindergarten master saw Meng Ze's news, he was very bitter in his heart, and the biochemical soldiers were of little use except for being cannon fodder. He also doesn't think Meng Ze can produce much in 2 hours, although Dream Corner Overtaking told him, this big guy named Meng Ze is likely to be invincible in the new district. However, kindergarten masters estimate that the ingredients of friends boasting are relatively large. After all, only the stronger the opponent, the more they will not appear to be incompetent and failure. Now the kindergarten master has no way in the new district. His only few friends are bitter, haha, and they can't help at all. The big guy who dreams of overtaking on a bend can provide free assistance, which is already good. 2 hours later, another 1,000 transport planes of Meng Ze took off with 2,000 tanks. After that, every 2 hours, a wave of thousands of transport planes took off. In 4 consecutive waves, 4,000 transport aircraft with 8,000 tanks flew to the base of the kindergarten master. This wave after wave of machine groups startled the players along the way to Num, which position of the big guy is simply too strong to provoke. Kindergarten master base. At this time, there was already a lot of fighting. The speed of the berserk jumping worm is too fast, and occasionally a little fire loophole will miss 1 or 2 to come in. The Zerg class is not a fool, and they also know how to prioritize attacks on targets that pose a greater threat to themselves, which makes the kindergarten master's tank loss very fast. This makes the already insufficient firepower even more stretched. Fortunately, the multi-armored thorn snake and the multi-legged lurker are larger, and there is no perverted speed like a berserk jumping worm, so the kindergarten master can rely on the life of the biochemical soldier and block it at the intersection. But in this way, the losses of the soldiers are too great. A dozen or even dozens of soldiers die every minute, more than 1,000 deaths per hour. If it weren't for the kindergarten master, who replenished a large number of biochemical arsenals when the relic Zerg showed signs of spreading, he would not be able to withstand such wear and tear at all. There are also 10 forges owned by kindergarten masters, but they are all ordinary grades. He also doesn't have a commander bonus, so the total production per hour is only 100 vehicles. Tanks are given priority by berserk jumping insects. They are losing all the time, their numbers have not been going up, and they cannot form a swarm effect at all. I can only barely rely on the tactics of fueling and drag out the battle. The heart of the kindergarten master is dripping blood, and he loses more than 100,000 resources every hour, and there are more than 1,000 yuan in exchange for imperial federal coins. During the period of waiting for Meng Ze's support, more than 20,000 imperial federal coins were gone, which was his income for nearly a year. The kindergarten master even regretted a little. Maybe it would be better to give up early. If Meng Ze's support was not effective, then he would not only die in the end, but also take more than a year's income, and the gain was not worth the loss. But now that the cost has been spent, he is also riding a tiger. Meng Ze's support should be coming soon. In the command center, the kindergarten master stared at the edge of the detection area of the western base, his eyes burning. More and more violent, jumping insects sneak in from the base, and many tanks were destroyed as soon as they left the factory. He doesn't have enough biochemical spearmen to round up these scattered jumping insects now. If this continues, once it is pinched inside and outside, the intersection will inevitably fail. By that time, everything is irreparable. Fortunately, Meng Ze arrived on time and did not betray the trust of the kindergarten masters. While the defense line at the base intersection was crumbling, in the sky, Meng Ze's group finally appeared. The kindergarten master felt a loose pressure in his heart, and his body shook a few times, almost unstable. As the transport plane group landed, Meng Ze's biochemical soldiers swarmed out and quickly began to strangle the berserk jumping insects in the base. The group of ghost fighters also assisted in the attack in due course. After more than 10 minutes, the Zerg in the base was cleaned up. A large number of gunmen rushed to the base intersection, making the defense line at the base intersection thicker again. Meng Ze was also relieved to see that the kindergarten master was rescued in time. When their own tank troops arrive, in the direction of the kindergarten masters, the expansion of the relic Zerg will be suppressed. The base of the kindergarten master will be firmly nailed to that place like a nail. Not only can it consume a large number of Zerg troops, but it can also buy time for Meng Ze in the same direction. At the same time, Meng Ze is also a little lucky, perhaps because the relic Zerg live underground and habitually do not produce air arms, otherwise the Zerg will be much more difficult than now. However, not having it now does not mean that there will be no in the future, and when the relics Zerg react, they may wait for the overwhelming Zerg wyvern, determine the arrangements for a period of time ahead. Meng Ze also lamented in his heart that the world is impermanent. Not long ago, he deliberately slowed down the upgrade arrangement of the command center, but in the blink of an eye, it became the most urgent matter. Seems like I've forgotten something. Meng Ze frowned, always feeling like he had forgotten something. After pondering for a while, his eyes inadvertently swept over the message box, and his mind flashed, Bun boss. When receiving Meng Ze's communication, the dog-headed Bun couldn't help but complain, brother, you are too careless to play this game, 3 days and 2 heads are not there. Fortunately, the poor Bun boss didn't know that he was forgotten for more than 10 hours by a certain unreliable little brother, otherwise he might have collapsed in his heart. Boss, forgive me, there is really something delayed. I don't know what the Bun boss is looking for me. Brother, are you in the 117 Theater 320 new district? I remember that a new district seemed to have opened recently. Seeing Meng Ze nodded, the dog-headed Bun said with an exaggerated expression, brother, your district is famous now, you know. The big guy is talking about the ruins. Right, it's the ruins. Do you know? No, your new area is the second area in the entire interstellar world to open up the third level ruins? The same has appeared before. Meng Ze was a little surprised. The creation of a new area in this Imperial Federation is a bit unreliable. The highest level of players in the new area is 2, and if you upgrade to the third level, you will passively enter the chaotic battlefield. And the third level ruins appear in a new area, and the difficulty is simply higher than the sky. As far as Meng Ze can see, as long as the restrictions on the third level Zerg are not enough in the early stage, it is almost impossible to resist in the back. It has also appeared once before in a new district, under the 89th Theater, Doghead Bun Road. So how is that new district now? Meng Ze asked quickly. Of course, it's part of the chaotic battlefield. The dog-headed Bun said to Meng Ze in a tone of hatred, that iron is not steel, brother. Although it may be that the interstellar world game qualification is nothing to you, but you are so good at snacks. In the official game description, the introduction of the new district is very clear. The new district is generally 3 to 4 years later. This time is based on the last player to enter this area, and when he reaches 3 years, he will be merged into the chaotic battlefield. At that time, it didn't matter how many levels you had, so, brother, you have to cherish the development time in the new district, and the chaotic battlefield is much more difficult to mix than the new district. The official game description mentioned by the dog-head Bun is estimated to be something on the information network of the Imperial Federation, and Meng Ze naturally can't see it. However, the dog-headed Bun is a kind advice, but Meng Ze's situation is not very clear. Thank you for the reminder of the Bun boss. I will pay attention. By the way, big guy, how did the players in that new district end up? Are there any relics of victory? Victory over the ruins? Are you kidding? At the time of the merger, the graves of those players were estimated to be a few feet tall. The situation that the dog-headed Bun said is indeed more logical, but the pressure on Meng Ze's heart is a little greater. He did not believe that there were no family children supported by the family in the new district, but those people existed, and in the end they still failed. This is enough to show the difficulty of fighting against third-level relics, but for players in the chaotic battlefield, this relic should be nothing. Meng Ze thought to himself. Big Bun, how did this last relic be destroyed? Meng Ze asked. Hearing Meng Ze's question, the dog-headed Bun was silent for a while, and then said to Meng Ze with some embarrassment, you know that I have died in the interstellar world. Do you know how I died? Hearing the dog-headed bun ask, Meng Ze guessed a little in his heart. Is it because of this ruin? Yes, brother. You don't know how terrifying the relic Zerg, who occupy the entire mine in the new area is. Ruins are not like players, which are restricted by rules. When the new area was fused into the chaotic battlefield, the relic Zerg were already level 4. Logically speaking, the 4th level Zerg is not such a great force in the chaotic battlefield, and many bigwigs use the 4th level, or even 5th level Zerg to exercise the command ability of the Legion, or simply use it as a resource pool. Meng Ze heard some information that he had never been exposed to at all, and it was really worthy of the world of big guys. But you know what? The dog-headed bun raised the volume. This relic Zerg force, at the level of the 4th level, actually resisted the siege of more than 10 5th level forces, and even destroyed 4 of them, and countless 4th level players were affected by the pondfish. Then big guy, you are one of those 4. Meng Ze suddenly realized that the dog's head bun was really unlucky. As a result, the dog-headed bun listened to Meng Ze's words, and said angrily, I am a fish. Meng Ze suddenly felt that he was a horse's ass on the horse's leg, but fortunately, the dog's head bun did not care. Big guy, has the relic Zerg been wiped out now? Kill the fart, it's almost forbidden there. Now that the ruins are level 5, 3 level 6 bosses plus a group of level 5 bosses have surrounded that ruin to prevent it from expanding. Even so, it is extremely difficult to resist, and the resources of the entire new area are swallowed by the relic Zerg family. It is too rich. Perhaps because of talking about previous unpleasant experiences, Doghead Bun was depressed, and soon ended the communication with Meng Ze. At the end of the chat, the dog-headed bun said to Meng Ze in a somewhat heavy tone, brother, it's not the old brother, who says sad words, you ask for luck. If there is really no way, then simply enter the chaotic battlefield in advance. Although the level will be a little lower when entering, the old brother has a background, has family forces to take care of, and should not be bullied much. Meng Ze actually wanted to say out loud, big guy, I'm also a bitter haha. Unfortunately, he could only nod silently. After chatting with the dog-headed bun, Meng Ze realized that he still underestimated the threat of the relic Zerg. The Zerg race, the mother nest is the barracks. Once there are enough resources, the explosive speed turret is difficult to reach. What restricts Meng Ze most now is not the mine, but the collection capacity. Meng Ze's home mine, which is capped at 1.2 billion per day, can regenerate less than 60 million, or only 1/20th. Wisdom Brain, search for goods related to the collection ability, that can be used by the base now in the free market. Meng Ze instructed the command center's intelligent road. Meng Ze is not confident that he can find it. He has asked the dog-head bun before, but the dog-head bun is not concerned about increasing the collection capacity. No wonder, according to the minds of the StarCraft simulation world, players of the Imperial Federation will not have the problem of insufficient collection ability at all. It will only be that there are not enough mines, and piles are not rich enough. Meng Ze is also a blissful annoyance. The search of the brain is very fast, and in 10 seconds, a large piece of product information appears on the big screen. This was completely unexpected for Meng Ze. There were so many products, but I didn't know if it met my needs. There are many goods that appear, there are all kinds of levels. Meng Ze didn't rush to look. Let the wisdom brain sort it first, and the highest level is ranked first. Then there is only one commodity on the entire page of the entire screen, the nanometer, mysterious level. Category, nanominer. Level 1. Efficiency, 10 units. Hour, life force, 10. Attack damage, 5. Defense, 0. Speed, 20. Manufacturing demand, 50 units of crystal ore. Note, this kind of mining machine is small in size and has a certain degree of stacking ability. Seeing the properties of the nanometer, Meng Ze was completely puzzled. The properties of the nanominer are exactly the same as the unmanned miner, the only difference is the last line of explanation. The price is not expensive, and it belongs to the mandatory 1 million crystal ore of mysterious items. This shows that this thing has no sales at all, and the reason is obvious, it is not necessary. Meng Ze did not rush to make a decision, and flipped back more than 10 pages, all of which were nanometers. Let your brain exclude the nanominer, and the product information is instantly emptied. This is not to say that there are no other products related to collection capabilities, but that is suitable for Meng Ze to use now. No way, Meng Ze had to exchange the goods back. Before buying, Meng Ze searched for the names of the two bigwigs, Doghead Bun and Dreamstar Night Glow. Both of them actually have mysterious level nano mining machines for sale. This thing is really not a rarity. Out of feelings, Meng Ze bought the mysterious nanominer of the dog's head bun. Within 2 minutes, a chip was teleported through the dimension. Later, the dog-headed bun sent a text. Brother, Are you going to give up on yourself? Do you also buy nanominers? Meng Ze couldn't say anything, just smiled back. After inserting the nanominer technology chip into the console chip slot and reading it, Meng Ze's command center has more options for manufacturing nanominers. The nanominer also does not occupy the population unit of the supply station. Meng Ze tried to build 1,000 nanominers, and then deliberately set aside 2 piles to use nanominers to mine 100, 150, 200. It wasn't until 600 that Meng Ze sensed the nanominer waiting. Each mine pile uses 300 mining rigs to achieve the best efficiency. This mining capacity is directly tripled by unmanned mining machines. This doubling is the base acquisition ability, and the actual collection ability also receives Meng Ze's technology and commander bonuses. If the initial value is 1.0 efficiency, now add 100% of the technology improvement. Among them, individual weapons are level 8, with a bonus of 80%, and individual power level 4 has a bonus of 20%. Meng Ze has used a mysterious enhanced gene regent, and the commander has a 50% bonus. The final production capacity is 2.5 times the initial value. After replacing all the nanorobots, the production reached 180 million crystal ores per day, equivalent to 7.5 super bonanzas, and this does not count the output of Meng Ze's other mines. Meng Ze himself was shocked by this production. So many resources. Meng Ze and the Relic Zerg war suddenly doubled with confidence. Based on the current scope of the spread of the Relic Zerg, Meng Ze believes that the resources that the Relic Zerg can collect must not be even 1/3 of him. Massive resources are Meng Ze's trump card. In order to complete the replacement of the nanominer as soon as possible, the 5 command centers of Meng Ze are fully committed to manufacturing this new mining machine. Then airfields were built on site at various subbases to produce transport aircraft. With this wave of operations, Meng Ze's airfield will increase to 9 seats. After the new nanominer is actually put into use, there will be 30,000 nanominers operating in the main mining area. Meng Ze thought of the problem of camouflage. Fortunately, after asking about the system, I was relieved. The camouflage of the system for the main mining area is not simply camouflaged crystal piles. Instead, it directly camouflaged the ore pile, mining machine, and even the area containing the command center, directly according to the pore mine. The system also showed Meng Ze the effect of camouflage, which was exactly the same as when working in pore mines, without any flaws. While Meng Ze was busy increasing his own collection capacity, the kindergarten master sent a video communication. Meng Ze was stunned, thinking that the battle situation had changed, and quickly connected. Big guy, please accept the little brother's worship. The kindergarten master bowed to Meng Ze, unable to hide the excited expression on his face. Meng Ze relaxed and wondered, brother, what are you doing here? Big guy, I didn't expect your support to be so powerful. Thanks to your blessing, the little brother can finally rest at ease for a while now. The kindergarten master still has the situation just now engraved in his mind. Relying on the troops supported by Meng Ze, the kindergarten master stabilized his position, and the number of tanks at home was gradually increasing. However, because the kindergarten masters themselves are not rich and cannot always use cash to buy resources to support themselves to explode with all their might, the entire base is still clouded. The kindergarten master also had expectations of the support Meng Ze said. Considering the capacity of his own family and bragging to friends, he thought that Meng Ze's second wave of support might be 2 or 3 times more than his own production capacity. Of course, if it were better, maybe 4 or 5 times. In this way, you can get 500 tanks at once, and your own base defense line can basically be stabilized. Who knows? The surprise came so suddenly. 2 hours after the first support arrived, dense transport planes once again appeared over the kindergarten base. These transports, in the stunned eyes of kindergarten masters, laid down 2,000 tanks. These arriving tanks not only tightly protected the base intersection of the kindergarten master, but also more than 1,000 more. These extra tanks, arranged by the kindergarten masters, are being erected in rows along the edge of the high ground of the base mining area to disperse the pressure at the base intersection. When Meng Ze calmed down the emotional little brother and cut the picture again, none of the tanks of this batch has yet to fully arrange the formation. This also allowed Meng Ze to witness the transformation of tanks into fortress mode for the first time. As far as the eye could see, hundreds of tanks stretched out huge brackets from both sides of the body to support the body. Then the turret was tilted and fixed, and the muzzle was deformed, becoming larger and thicker. Immediately after that, the barrel began to flicker with electric light, getting brighter and brighter. Boom, boom, with a loud roar, hundreds of shells, that were difficult to see, flew out. Below the highlands, the place where the Zerg forces converge explodes. Even the third-level Zerg, with thick armor, was blown to flesh and blood. If it is a single tank, perhaps even if these Zerg are directly hit, they will only receive no light or heavy damage. At their speed, they may soon be able to break out of the tank's coverage area and recover from their injuries through great resilience. But now, there are hundreds of tanks that have been converted to fortress mode. The area within a radius of several hundred square kilometers is in the range of the tank, and the firepower is constant. Let the Zerg all kinds of bugs. There is no escape. Compared with the Underground Research Institute, commanding biological and chemical soldiers to fight, the roar of tank heavy artillery made Meng Ze's blood boil even more. It is also different from watching military exercise documentaries on TV, where every detail of the battlefield can be clearly observed as long as you want. More importantly, on the battlefield, it is its own troops, completely under its own command and control. Every round of shelling, every Zerg's miserable scream, burned Meng Ze's blood. It turns out that this is the commander. This is the commander. If it weren't for reason telling yourself, the most important thing now is to improve your level. Meng Ze can't wait to open up the production of his family's military buildings, allowing himself to experience the feeling of a real million-strong soldier. Unfortunately, this is not Blue Star. Meng Ze felt a little regretful in his heart. If these troops appeared in the Blue Star, if Xiao Tian dared to say a word, the uncle would let him experience what is called an air-heavy commando. Thinking of Blue Star, Meng Ze's heart came to mind a girlish face like a flower, clear and bright pupils, curved willow eyebrows, long eyelashes, fair and flawless skin, like rose petals, delicate thin lips. Every detail of the girl's face seemed to be subtle in Meng Ze's mind. If only Hua Wei was there. The male soldier was in hand, the beauty was on the side, and the beauty in the world was simply unsurpassed. Unfortunately, the girl may never know this scene. Wave after wave of transport aircraft, thousands of tank corps. The kindergarten master felt numb. Now, due to the limitation of the area, the Highland mine, where the base is located, Meng Ze's tanks have been erected 2 levels around the edge of the mine. Below the high ground, once arrogant and a huge number of Zerg swarms, were plowed over and over again by these tanks. The area that the tank swarm can cover, the ground has been covered with a thick layer of the broken flesh of the stumps of the swarm. The strong smell of blood made it impossible to completely remove the filter system of the command center. Although the Zerg forces are still constantly being reinforced, the kindergarten master has no pressure. After a reminder of a friend who dreams of overtaking in a corner, in order to cope with a possible air crisis, kindergarten masters have turned their resources into missile launch pads with anti-stealth and venting functions. If the kindergarten master can be regarded as relaxed here, then who I die with is a bit hard now. Although I defended relatively easily before I died with anyone, his base was closer to the ruins. As the Relic Zerg clan continues to grow, the base with whom I died is almost always under high-intensity attack. Fortunately, the base firepower of the kindergarten master increased greatly, which helped him attract a lot of Zerg troops, allowing him to barely position his base without breaking. But now, the pressure is also increasing. The consumption of the most important tanks is almost replenished. Seeing the show-off video sent by my friend, my eyes turned red with jealousy. Why didn't Meng Ze choose to support him? Is it because he behaved too well? Although I continue to hold on hard now, I should be able to withstand it for a while and a half, but this consumption makes me dripping blood with whom everyone wants to hold the thighs, especially the thighs of the big local tyrants. Direct contact is probably not possible, and I first found my dream corner to overtake, and said my thoughts in a gulp. Dream Bend overtaking did not directly agree to come down, but said that he had to ask the big guy first. Meng Ze didn't know that his heroic rescue behavior made him famous. Players along the group's sailing route filmed Meng Ze's rescue, and made a video and sent it to the Warzone channel. Now many newcomers know that in the 320 new area, there is a big guy far above the average level, supporting the players in front against the ruins of the Zerg. It's just that Meng Ze's name has not been revealed yet. When Meng Ze received his little brother's communication, the last nanometers had just been sent to the mining area by transport planes. Looking at the dense 30,000 nano mining machines, Meng Ze seemed to see the coming crystal mine rain. The output is 770,000 per hour, which is equivalent to the output of 0.8 pore mines in one day. As long as you sleep in the real world, the resources for the command center upgrade are almost enough. Dream Bend overtook and looked at the face of his boss in the communication, and said in his heart, "It seems that the big guy is in a good mood." Then ask the big guy to help his friends. It is more certain. Big guy, what is so happy? Haha. I have obtained a large number of resources, and the pressure is much less, Meng Ze said half-truthfully. Worthy of being a big guy. Dream Bend overtaking and sending. I believe that there are big guys, and we, the little brothers hiding behind, can have more chances of survival. It's hard to say, but it's man-made. And thanks to the big guy. If it weren't for the support of the big guy, my friend's kindergarten master is estimated to have to go back to life. It is also appropriate to support him, although the Zerg is still far away from us for the time being, but the Zerg is developing too fast. Speaking of this, Meng Ze asked, I haven't paid much attention to the information of the relic Zerg. I dream you have collected it there. His little brother, Meng Ze, feels that he also understands. This kid collects information about the interstellar world through various channels, all day long. For the changes of the relic Zerg that attracted the most attention in the 320 new area, it should be the most appropriate to ask him. Sure enough, hearing his boss question, Dream Bend overtook directly sent a hand-drawn map. It's not very exquisite, but the general range is delineated. Big guy, this is the sketch of the expansion of the relic Zerg that I drew through the information I collected, and the last piece of information was an hour ago, 2,000 kilometers north of the ruins. The player McCree's base was breached. Meng Ze looked at the map sent by the overtaking car on the Dream Bend, and now the dispersal area of the relic Zerg is a bit like a circle being pinched a little. The west, where it is pinched, is naturally the base of the kindergarten master supported by Meng Ze, and the base with whom I will die. In the north and south directions, there seems to be no strong player resistance, and the relic Zerg has spread to 2,000 kilometers away. Do you know who it is in the east? At this time, those who can resist the Zerg forces will definitely not be the weak. Big guy, the player in the east is called -90 degrees. It is said that he is a family son with a deep background, similar to the big guy you. The name sounds cold. Meng Ze read it silently a few times, feeling more comfortable. Later, Meng Ze emphasized to his younger brother, I am different from him. I am not a son, brother. I have today to rely on myself. Dream Corner overtaking mouth echoed his own boss, but said in his heart, I want to believe that I am a fool. Whether his little brother believes it or not, Meng Ze feels like he's telling the truth anyway. Having already asked, Meng Ze is trying to send his little brother away. Dream Bend overtook and hurriedly said, Big guy, my friend, who died with whom I am, is about to be unable to hold on. I don't know if I can ask the big guy to support him. The left and right is only a matter of 1 or 2 million resources, and this little face Meng Ze will still give to his little brother. Receiving a definite answer from Meng Ze, Dream Bend overtook his friend as soon as possible. When I received the news, I was smiling with whom? The big guy shoots. How can you have 2,000 tanks? With those tanks, your own base defense will be much easier for a while. On Meng Ze's side, the forge began to build tanks in full force. Considering the location of the base with whom I died, Meng Ze estimated that he was under more pressure than the kindergarten master, so he decided to send him 10,000 tanks at once. As the number of units increased, Meng Ze also began to arrange the construction of more supply depots in various sub-mining areas to increase the population capacity reserve. Maybe I should contact -90 degrees. Now in this situation, one more helper is more hope. The more he thought about Meng Ze, the more he felt the necessity, and then asked Jubrain to try to call the other party. Unexpectedly, in just a few seconds, the communication was connected. Commander Meng Ze, I know you. The first sentence of -90 degrees caught Meng Ze a little off guard. Commander -90 degrees, take the liberty of disturbing. Please don't mind. The first time we dealt with each other, Meng Ze was also polite. Of course you don't mind. The greeting has also been called. Let's call it by name. And there is no need to bring the honorific title of the commander. We are the same kind of people. At -90 degrees, Meng Ze was a little puzzled. 90 degrees below zero. Take the liberty of asking. Where did you learn about me? Haha, don't you know? You are a big celebrity right now, with 5,000 transport planes, 8,000 tanks, and free miles to support other players against the Zerg. It doesn't seem to be anything, does it? Meng Ze didn't think that this was a lot of troops, but more than 1 million resources. It felt a little embarrassing to hear -90 degrees Celsius say this. For us, it's really nothing, but for ordinary people who only have poor minds and ordinary minds, this is a big deal. 90 degrees below zero is very straightforward. This little thing seems to be a lot, but it should not last long under the Zerg. That's Meng Ze's real idea. After forming a swarm effect, the tank's attack power is indeed terrifying, but it is still necessary to ensure that the Zerg cannot get close, because the tank's fortress mode is an attack blind zone, within a radius of 2 kilometers. Tanks arranged in echelons. Tanks in the rear will cover part of the blind zone of the tank in front. However, the tank heavy artillery in the fortress mode is hugely powerful and cannot form a full cover, otherwise it will inevitably cause accidental injuries. So, there must be troops in front, usually biochemical lancers. The lancers not only had to maintain the front line of defense, but even bear the bombardment of their own tanks and heavy artillery if necessary, and died with the bugs. Fortunately, The player's home bases are basically on the independent highland plain, and there is only one knot-wide slope junction on the upper and lower plains, which has unique geographical advantages. As long as the intersection is blocked with buildings or gunners, with the support of a large number of tank fire, the casualty rate will be greatly reduced. 90 degrees below zero nodded and said, now the front line base uses tanks to temporarily resist the Zerg offensive, mainly because the Zerg are consolidating the core area occupation, and do not have much energy to launch an offensive. You seem to know a lot about this. Seeing -90 degrees talking, Meng Ze couldn't help but ask, I have studied the development trajectory of the Zerg in the 89 war zone. Do you know about the 89 war zone? Meng Ze nodded. 90 degrees below zero continued, the Zerg of the ruins of Area 89 have just entered the big map, and they are similar to the Zerg in our district. First occupy a part of the mining area, expand freely on the periphery, consolidate the occupation in the core area, and replenish the buildings, probably because of the previous habits underground. Into the early stage of surface expansion, the Relic Zerg almost has no air force, but this is all temporary. Once it is ready and officially enters a period of rapid expansion, then in the case of strong resistance, or a large loss caused by the air arms attacking him, the Zerg will quickly increase the air arms. When the time comes, the blow will come from the sky, and the tank will be of no use at all. And even if the Zerg didn't make air arms, it wouldn't be long before the Zerg polluter appeared. Hearing the words at -90 degrees, Meng Ze's expression became grim. The Zerg class polluter, popularly known as the Scorpion. Meng Ze has only heard of it. This class can not only unleash plague, but also cover the battlefield in a wide area, affecting the hit rate of long-range troops. As long as the Scorpion appears, the tactical utility of the tank C is greatly reduced. Combined with the Berserk jumping worm, the Terran's positional warfare can almost be abolished. So how much more time do we have? Meng Ze asked. Then it depends on how much pressure we can put on it. These days, there are not many mining areas occupied by the Relic Zerg now, not enough for it to explode with all its strength. As long as we continue to consume it, and delay its pace of upgrading and expansion, then the time for the emergence of high-level Zerg will be delayed. And as far as I know, the ruins are going up from north to south, and those players have also begun to unite, and the pace of Zerg expansion has been temporarily delayed. But these are temporary. The Relic Zerg is replenishing its technological buildings. You can scout the coordinates of 778443122633C4200B. This is a rich mine, and the Zerg seem to use it as a core base. Once you let it be replenished without stress, it's worse. The new area under the 89 war zone just didn't seize this opportunity, allowing the Zerg to successfully complete the building upgrade and resource integration, and then it was quickly broken, and there was no longer the ability to fight. -90 degrees is already clear, and Meng Ze understands the key point of the matter, but it is not so easy to drag down the development of the Zerg. If the players just hold the base, the Zerg will not attack. Wait for its buildings to be perfected, and then expand. Therefore, in order to achieve the goal of dragging the Zerg at -90 degrees, it is necessary to take the initiative to attack the mining area occupied by the Zerg. Let the Zerg sacrifice scientific and technological development in order to protect their mining area, and instead produce troops. However, this means that it is necessary to fight the Zerg field, or even take the initiative to start a war for unfavorable geographical locations. I understand what you said, but in order to reach the level that threatens the development of the Zerg, at least the second-level high-level troops, and I haven't even completed the upgrade of the command center now. Meng Ze revealed a little bit of information about his base. I'm a little better than you. My command center has been upgraded, and the biochemical arsenal has also completed the second-level mysterious level of scientific and technological transformation. In the early stage, I can put a little pressure on the Relic Zerg, but the resources consumed by the second-level mysterious level are too large, and my resources rely on the support of my family. Once the family judges that the gains are not worth the loss if I persist, I may be stopped from supply. So more people must stand up as soon as possible and let the people behind us see the hope of defeating the ruins. -90 degrees told Meng Ze about his situation. He believes that Meng Ze, like himself, relies on family support, so he will inevitably face the same troubles. The two have compassion for each other and just support each other. Give me 3 days, and in 3 days, I will send troops. Meng Ze gave -90 degrees a promise. According to Meng Ze's estimates, it would not take 3 days for him to upgrade enough second-level technology buildings and start exploding. One word. The two sides did not sign any agreement, but -90 degrees believed that Meng Ze was the same as his family son, and he definitely did not disdain to regret it. Meng Ze, on the other hand, believes that the two have little chance of regretting in the face of a common enemy. More importantly, whether the other party does it or not, he must fight the Zerg, and there is no room for retreat. Then let's form an alliance to open a map, so that we can understand the situation of the other party in time and coordinate, and organize the attack on the Zerg. 90 degrees below zero finally suggested. Meng Ze mentally asked the system whether the alliance would leak mining information, and after receiving a negative answer, the two formally formed a verbal alliance, opening their horizons to each other and sharing intelligence. Disconnecting from communication, Meng Ze switched his field of view to -90 degrees. Sure enough, he is worthy of being supported by the family. Meng Ze was surprised. 90 degrees below zero is not only complete with all kinds of technological buildings in the base, but also densely packed with soldier-type buildings, at least twice the number of soldier-type buildings of Meng Ze. Because it was an alliance, Meng Ze was able to see the buildings' rank intelligence. Compared with himself, there are many more buildings that are not mysterious in the -90 degree home, but the lowest level is legendary. In addition, there are 12 mines at -90 degrees, not including mines that Meng Ze does not know about the player. Meng Ze was surprised by the -90 degrees. After seeing Meng Ze's base at -90 degrees, he was even more dumbfounded. Meng Ze's base doesn't seem to have as many buildings as him, but it's all mysterious buildings. According to the rules of the interstellar world, making such a choice means that no matter which level you rise to in the future, it must be a mysterious building. Other levels are not that they cannot be built, but once you change other levels, the subsequent level advantages will not be able to continue, which is equivalent to wasting all the investment in the early stage. For example, if it is a mysterious level biochemical arsenal at the first level, then you must also be a mysterious level biochemical arsenal at the second level to build a third level mysterious level biochemical arsenal. If you choose the legendary level when you are at the second level, then after you reach the third level, the highest level can only build a legendary level biochemical arsenal. The rules of the world do not allow the third level command center to return to building a second level mysterious building. That is to say, there is no such thing as your high level, and then go back to make up the basics. Meng Ze's choice represents a 10-fold and 100-fold investment in the future. Of course, once successful, then the future Meng Ze's Legion. The combat ability must be incomparably strong. In the impression of -90 degrees, it is not that no one chooses to go this way, but in the end, either relegate or be dragged to death. Think about it, with the same resources, others can rise to level 4, and you, most likely, are still spinning at level 2. And the 4th level elite class, fighting the 2nd level mysterious level class, is basically more than wrong. In this case, who can insist? Even if the player has a firm heart, you will not hit you when someone else. Therefore, from the beginning of the entire interstellar world to the present, no one can go to the 4th level of the entire mysterious legion. After seeing Meng Ze's base, -90 degrees silently sent a series of exclamation points to Meng Ze. Their new allies either have many planets at home, or they have brain problems. However, judging from the process just understood, -90 degrees Celsius estimates that the former is still more likely. God, I can't afford to provoke. 90 degrees below zero didn't know. Meng Ze didn't understand the rules of this world at all. He just used his own magical mind to be reckless. Of course, this beautiful misunderstanding may never have a chance to be solved. After watching the situation at home at -90 degrees, Meng Ze sighed. Really can't underestimate anyone, even if it is a new district. There are still strongmen. After sighing, Meng Ze took out a chip from the storage compartment of the console. This chip is one of Meng Ze's takeaways from the battle for the Underground Research Institute, but compared to the dazzling strengthening gene reagents, this poor chip was almost forgotten by his own commander. Now it's hard to remember, and finally I can see the light of day again. I don't know what this chip is. Meng Ze put the chip into the console's detector with anticipation. Through the console's detector, any chip that is not higher than the command center level can be identified. This level does not refer to the level unlocked by the commander, but to the level of the command center, when it was made, level 5. So, Meng Ze never imagined that there would be chips that the command center could not recognize. But that's how bizarre it is. The detector in the command center scanned for several minutes, and could not recognize the chip information. Only a helpless alarm sounds. Meng Ze was taken aback, but he did not expect that in his harvest, the chip was the highest end thing. However, it was only so much surprise. Because this thing is too high end, there's no need to think about this matter for the expected time at present. At levels 1 and 5, and above, the gap is not just a small number. Think about it, countless people will not reach level 3, let alone level 5. When the time for the protection of the new area passes, and they merge into the chaotic battlefield. Now throughout the interstellar world, There are tens of billions of players in the 117 war zone alone. There are now 320 new zones, each of which has at least 100,000 people, that is, there are more than 300 million players in the 117 war zone alone. But among so many players, how many of the 5th level, according to the information Meng Ze knows, does not exceed 1,000, less than 1 in 300,000. Therefore, it is not surprising that only level 4 dog-headed buns can become regional hegemons. Restoring the chip, Meng Ze is temporarily relaxed, arrangements have been made, and the transport plane that has gone to support the player with whom he died has set sail. To be on the safe side, Meng Ze chose to fly straight, and instead chose to detour from the direction of the kindergarten master base. The Zerg's multi-armor snake has the ability to fight the air, and now the Zerg vanguard has crossed the base of these two, especially with whom I died, so transport planes are becoming less and less safe to fly. Fortunately, because the base of these two people is like a nail nailed to the path of Zerg expansion, most of the Zerg troops have been attracted to the past, and there are not many scattered troops. Meng Ze opened the way with 1,000 ghost fighters, followed by 5,000 transport aircraft. The purpose of the ghost fighter to open the way is not to annihilate the scattered forces of the Zerg, but to serve as a bait to attract fire and ensure the safe passage of transport aircraft. 5,000 transport planes can almost cover the entire sky, full of oppression. Although the players on the road have been numbed by Meng Ze's previous transport planes, this time, there are 5,000 transport planes, which still shocks these novice players. In this wave of transported tank legions, it is enough to outperform more than 90% of the players in the new district. Asterisk.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.